People whitewater rafting. Oh no. Oh, he's out! Oh! Okay, this video was taken on the main fork of the Salmon River near Riggins, Idaho. I received my guide's license for the main fork of the Salmon in the summer of 2012. Since then, I've taken many raft trips as a passenger and a few as a guide. When writing my speech, I also consulted the website for American Whitewater, which is a nonprofit organization founded in 1954. Their mission statement is, quote, to conserve and restore America's whitewater resources and to enhance opportunities to enjoy them safely. As you can see, whitewater rafting can be a dangerous activity, and there are several safety precautions that should always be taken while participating. First, you should always have the proper safety equipment for the proper time of year. Second, everyone on the raft should know what to do in case he or she falls out or if the raft flips. And third, you should always raft with a licensed river guide. The first thing I want to tell you about is the safety equipment you should have on your boat. The most important piece of safety equipment to have is a life jacket. According to American Whitewater, a life jacket could prevent 1/3 of all whitewater accidents. This is my life jacket. There are two kinds of life jackets, a low flow jacket and a high flow jacket. Low flow jackets are best for mid to late summer or for people who are confident swimmers, and high flow jackets are best for early spring at high water when the river is moving quickly. Before your trip, it's important that your life jacket is tightened properly. It might feel like it's a little bit tighter than it needs to be. But anytime these straps get wet, they stretch out, and if your life jacket isn't tight enough, it's going to try to float up over your nose and mouth, or it could be completely torn off of you in a rapid. The next piece of safety equipment I want to tell you about is helmets. Helmets are not used all year long. They're typically used in the spring at high water and in the fall when the river's lower and there are more rocks and logs exposed. Guides usually try to give their guests brightly colored helmets so that they're easy to spot if they fall out in a rapid or if they make their way far from the raft. The third piece of safety equipment you should have is a wetsuit. According to American Whitewater, a wetsuit should be worn when the water temperature is less than 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold temperatures can be hazardous while rafting. They can lead to hypothermia as well as a loss of control if you're paddling. All of this safety equipment can help you if you fall in the water, but there are also some actions that you should take if you swim. The first and most important thing to remember is do not panic, and the second thing to remember is do not stand up. Standing up in the river can be dangerous. A 2006 article in AW Journal tells the story of an experienced kayaker who drowned after he stood up in only a Class 2 rapid. What can happen is your foot can get caught between two rocks at the bottom of the river, causing you to trip, and then the current will actually hold you down, making it impossible for you to get up, causing you to drown. So what you should do is point your feet downstream. Sending your feet down first will protect your body from hitting against rocks or logs in the river, and you should keep your legs as close to the surface of the water as possible. That will prevent your feet from getting caught in any rocks or logs at the bottom of the river. While you're in the water, you should stay as close to your raft as possible. That's where there is the most help in the form of your guide as well as other passengers. If you can, you should try to stay upstream from the raft so that you don't get caught between the boat and a rock or a log further down in the river. It does happen that people can make their way pretty far from the raft. If this happens to you, your guide will either row over to you or they'll throw you a throw bag. I don't have a throw bag. I really wish I did, but I don't. So this is what a throw bag looks like. This bag is full of rope. This is one end of the rope, and then this is the other end of the rope. So what your guide will do is grab hold of this loop and toss the bag out to you, and then the rope will let out of the bag. What you then need to do is swim to and grab a hold of the rope. Don't grab a hold of the bag, because the bags can sometimes rot and break apart, so it's important that you grab the rope. And then your guide or another passenger will pull you in. If you're the one tossing a throw bag, remember to toss underhand a little upstream from the person you're rescuing. Another thing you need to know when you're in the river is when to breathe. So, do we have a marker? Any place that the water goes over a rock or a log is what we call a wave. So imagine that this is the river. We're looking at it from the side. These are the waves where the water goes over a rock or a log. The best place to breathe is right here at the bottom of the wave. Even though you're wearing a flotation device, you're not going to float over the wave, you're going to float through it. So the best place to breathe is right here at the bottom. It's possible to fall out in a rapid and end up in the water. It's also possible for your raft to flip like we saw in our video. If your raft flips, you could potentially end up underneath it. It's important, still don't panic. So imagine that this is your raft overturned in the river. Can you guys tell that's a raft? Okay, so your life jacket is going to cause you to float up toward the floor of the raft. What you need to do is put your hands above you and move yourself in one direction. Don't change direction. The raft is only 8 feet long at most, so eventually you will find the side, and then you need to swim out from underneath. And as you're moving yourself along, push on the floor of the raft so that another passenger or your guide will know you're under there and can assist you. I'm sure you've noticed that I have mentioned your guide a few times. That's because rafting with a licensed river guide can greatly increase your safety on the river. If you raft with a licensed river guide, you know that you're rafting with someone who has the proper training. To be certified and receive your guide's license in Idaho, you have to raft a certain amount of miles on the river you wish to be certified on, as well as have your first aid certification. Another reason rafting with a guide can increase your safety is because river guides have experience. A lot of guides float the river every day, so not only does this give them practice, it also lets them know the river. The river this month is much different than it was last month. It's even different this week than it was last week, so having someone who knows what the rapids look like and knows what the river is doing is really important. So, these are the things you need to do to be safe while whitewater rafting. First, always have the proper safety equipment for the proper time of year. A helmet and a wetsuit in the spring and fall, and a life jacket all year long. Second, know what to do in case you fall out of the raft. Point your feet downstream, keeping your legs as close to the water as you can, the surface of the water as you can. Stay as close to your raft as possible, and breathe at the bottom of the wave. And lastly, always raft with a licensed river guide who has proper training and knowledge of the river.